Hey, ADNC family. Hope all is well with everybody. It is hump day. It's Wednesday. And, for you Christmas celebrators, it is Christmas Eve. And I'm sure a lot of you are doing your last minute running around. So I appreciate anyone who is taking the time to spend about a half hour or so with me. So thank you very much for joining. Thank you, Magic Fletcher from H-Town, Texas. Thank you for joining. Hey, Rexipio from Dallas, Selah. Thank you so much for joining me today. And as I said, hope all is well with everybody. Today's topic, we're going to talk about the Somalis in the United States. And uh, I'm going to just have to be issuing some tough love here, okay? Some tough love is coming your way based on this most recent event, okay? But before we get started and while we wait for more people to join, I just want to again remind everybody to download the African Diaspora News Channel app. If you haven't done so already, please do so. You will not be disappointed. It's a great, great, great app. And it's made by us, for us. It doesn't get any better than that. So download that app. Now, to today's topic, the Somali community. And we have heard your president in the United States talking about the Somalis and talking about Somalia and talking about it as being garbage and all of the other things. And the Somalis are protesting around. And I came across a video of Somalis protesting in Columbus, Ohio. And I thought to myself, what are you guys doing? What are we doing here? So we're going to watch that. But before we watch that, I just wanted to remind everybody of the kinds of things that Trump has been saying about Somalians.
In our country, I'll be honest with you. Okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries, too. I can say it about other countries, too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country.
So he said, their country stinks, garbage, right? Fast forward to, oh my gosh, family, are you ready? Fast forward to this group, a small group that managed to track ICE in a hotel that they're staying in, apparently in Columbus, Ohio. And this is what they did. Let us watch.
Ohio, we found ICE! Messenger, halku soo boodo! Haye, farad doonto! Puro tantiran,
Okay. Is that supposed to be a flex? Like what? Let me just talk to you, Somalians, okay? West African here, Ghana. Let me talk to you. What are you doing? What are you doing? This is not wise. You hear the president talking. And I say this, moreover, and I'll say it again. President Trump, whether you like him or not, his words hold weight. Okay, not only in America, but even here in Canada. So once he started talking that way, that rhetoric started coming out of his mouth about Somalia, look what's been happening. So this group of people who decided they're going to go track ICE and be outside the hotel chanting and holding your sign and laughing, this isn't funny. And it's not going to be funny if any of them decided to leave that hotel. Now, whether or not they were actually staying there, I don't know. But a lot of people are tweeting and I'm talking about the folks that are tweeting about this group here and saying that they're stalking ICE and that we need to arrest them and deport them. So this is not wise. Okay? This is not wise. You're already in the doghouse because of the way that you behave in the United States against Black Americans and the fact that you like to keep going around saying you're not Black. Oh, I can show you better than I can tell you. Here's an example.
I say about the whole are Somalis Black or Somalis Arabs.
Yeah.
You know, I say
I don't think we're
we're
Arabs.
neither Arabs and we're neither Black. You're not Black. I'm not Black. But
And this is the talking point that keeps going around. And so this is not helping your cause by running around following ICE and standing outside hotels acting a fool. It's not smart. Do not do that. This is anti-M talking. This is tough love time. Stop the nonsense. The other thing we're going to get to, family, is I'm going to have an economics with M moment where I'm going to pitch a deck and we're going to look at how many Somalians are in United States, how many are set for deportation and all of that good stuff. But I want to just go to the chat here and have a conversation with y'all as well. Greetings from Atlanta. Hi. Hey, serendipity. Thanks for joining. I am going ahead. Hey, Militia 69. Hi. Thank you. Hi, Teresa. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, Trump can be messy. He sure can, but his messiness does cause a ripple effect of messiness. So, like I said, this was not a wise thing to do. You're saying that this guy's in his own head, and this is our leader. This country stinks even worse. Well, I mean, every country has its things, right? But at the end of the day, he's not even talking about your country. He's talking about another country. And this is affecting the people from that country that are in the United States, right? Exactly my question, Anna Jackson. What does this accomplish? Nothing at all. But you're just causing more problems for yourself. If I were the Somalians, I would be instead of going around doing that, like stalking ICE agents and all that other nonsense, I would be working really hard to prove my worth and to prove why I belong in that country, rather than that. This was a silly thing to do. Hey, Buckhorse, how you doing? Yeah, they were cutting the jig. They were. Hey, Renzor, how you doing? Why, oh, why, oh, why? Yes, that's what I'm asking. Why are you doing this? Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Anne Brown. Well, look, that's the thing that I'm talking about too with Lizaka. When you ask that question is, there are some Africans, and stay tuned for that because I am going to show examples of Africans that are in the United States that really do rock for y'all and love you guys. So not all Africans are behaving this way at all. But we're talking about the ones that are just doing this silliness right now. But I will say not all of them behave this way. They don't. That's my whole point, Buckhorse, is, you're standing outside the hotel laughing and making noise. But if they came out, what would have happened? And they may not even be people that are tasked to be deported. But you're not helping your cause by jumping around there with a flag and yelling and screaming and saying, we found ICE in Columbus. How silly are you? Exactly. Thank you. It's not helping. And that's that whole talking point. I agree with you, Pauline. It's like, we're not Black, we're not Arabs. What are you? And then at the end of the day, what do you think people are identifying you as? And I will talk about this moreover because they do the same thing here in Canada. And you got to stop that because here's what's going to happen. You cannot expect Black Americans to be rocking with you, marching with you, being an ally or any of that when you don't want to even identify as a Black person. You can't expect it. Exactly, Lala Brown. Yeah, they're like, oh, well, you woke me up. ICE will be, oh, okay, well, since you woke me up, I'm going to get to work. Boy. Yeah, that's true. He could be listening to FBA talking points. Yep, that's true too, Liz Aka. Yep, they do have citizenship. We're going to talk about that shortly. And they may be some that have citizenship, but that doesn't mean that you're going to go stalking them and doing this. That does not help your cause or help those that are on the deportation list, right? Those whose TPS has been nixed. Thank you, Ann Brown. Thank you. Hey, Portia, how you doing? Thanks for joining. So your question, Lizaka, if Black people in Canada are saving Somalians there, no, because they do the same thing here. So just to give you some statistics about the Somalians in Canada, there's about as of 2021, there's a bit over like maybe 100K, and a lot of them live in Ottawa, Ontario, but the most heavily populated area is Toronto. And then in Toronto, to my people who live in Ontario, will be able to relate to the cities that I'm going to say right now, which is North York, Etobicoke, Jane and Finch, Scarborough, not necessarily cities, but like boroughs. So those are kind of the areas that they populate heavy in Toronto, and Ontario is the biggest populated areas. And they have their areas and they delineate for sure. They do. Um, Yeah, I agree with you, Portia. Portia's saying they better stop while they're ahead before this turns ugly and they're arrested, no matter what they are. Exactly. And my whole point is they may not even be tasked to be deported, but you're not helping yourself. Or are you helping those who are? Right? And do you think ICE not doesn't care? You think ICE is going to pull up some papers to find out? No. You track them at their hotel and you're outside their hotel and you're going on camera. How silly. Don't do that. Listen, I love all my African people, but I'm going to call it when I see it. And this was not smart by any means. Thank you, Reg. Yeah, yeah, you all, it seems to me like you all are sort of understanding where I'm coming from for sure. But my point is yeah, you're right. You may not, you if you're a citizen, the likelihood of being deported is slim. But my point is that going and doing that is not smart, because it affects and it'll hurt people who are of the Somali community potentially by these actions. Anyhow, it's time for an economic minute with M, okay? Economics with M. So we're going to look at a deck and just look at some statistics in the United States as it relates to the Somali community, because I thought that would be a good idea to really get some perspective, So here we go. Economics with M. Ding, 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 ding. Somalis in the United States, population where communities are concentrated, deportation and enforcement. This is just a snapshot. And this is based off of the American Community Survey. And it's like the most solid numbers to me anyway, from what my research was 2024. So I'm working with that. It could be more, could be less, but at least we get a general idea, right? So how many Somalis are in the United States right now? 260,000 people of Somali descent living in the United States. And again, this is the American Community Survey 2024's estimate. People of Somali descent in Minnesota are 107,000. Somali residents in Minneapolis, St. Paul, 84,000. Somali residents in Hennepin County, Minnesota, 50,000. So Somalis in Minnesota born in the United States, 58%. So that's a pretty large percentage, right? So here's a little graph that has like Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Columbus, Ohio, which explains the Somalis that decided to track ICE at the hotel in Columbus, Ohio. It's a pretty big chunk of people that are there. So Minnesota, largest statewide Somali descent population. Minnesota, St. Paul Metro is the biggest concentration, and then Ohio, right? Frequently cited as the second largest statewide Somali community, Columbus is a major hub. Pacific Northwest, Seattle, Tukwila, SeaTac area, regularly cited as a major cluster as well. Most counts depend on whether you're measuring ancestry, birthplace, citizenship, or immigration status. So the Columbus figures obviously are the largest, and that makes sense based on these metrics. And then how many are set to be deported? 4,090. And these are non-citizens with final removal orders on ICE's non-detained docket. Again, that's as of late 2024. Maybe more by now. But then we just got to put it into context, because the total across all countries is 1,445,000 and then 549. So the Somali share is only 0.28%. So it's not massive. You see that little area here in the circle. And then, so why final orders aren't really equaling to immediate deportations is because people can obtain relief protection, which is asylum, and withholding of removal. And that's a CAT, which is a Convention Against Torture. So basically, if wherever they're being deported to has an over 50% rate that you can face being tortured, then you can seek asylum, and that will sort of delay you getting deported. And then also, if your travel documents, your country that you're supposed to be going to, can delay those removals. And then, of course, ICE lists Somalia among countries it considers uncooperative. So that would fall under one of the countries, right, that delay removal. So these are some of the reasons why there would be a delay in them being deported. So 87% of foreign-born nationals in Minnesota are neutralized or naturalized U.S. citizens. And then the ones that are protected under the temporary protected status is 705. So family, I just want to give you a little bit of, some time with Emma's economics to show you a little bit of where we're at with the Somali residents. And we're going to talk some more about this because in my humble opinion, you can't go to a country, whether you're born there or you've immigrated there, migrated there, and be disrespectful and also be antagonistic, and then also, say you're not Black and all those other things and expect to be protected. It's just not going to work. It won't. And you can't, you literally cannot think in your mind, whoever would decide to get up and say, hey, brothers and sisters, let's go find out where ICE is and go stand outside their hotel and wave some flags and bang our drums and say, we tracked ICE. Make it make sense, family. Like, I literally, when I saw this, I was like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? You're already literally in the doghouse. You have the president of that country, one of the most powerful people in the world, trashing your country and your people, and even Ilhan Omar and people like that. And you go out and do this? Literally, people, you got to stop this. You really got to stop this. All right. So you're saying, Lanita, you're saying if they have a U.S. citizenship, they don't know the difference between natural and naturalized. Anyone that's naturalized can be deported because they were graced to be there. Isn't it interesting, Buckhorse? When I was doing the research, I was like, wow, that's why I love having economics with M. So we can look at some statistics, and it puts things in perspectives, right? Like it gives you more context, and you have sort of an idea of, kind of what you're dealing with or what's really happening, right? So I love doing that, and I hope you all love it as well. I'll keep it coming. I think what migrants still don't get is then people make and change the rules all the time. Yeah, that is true. That is true. And you have a president that can go rogue at any time, right? So I'm just saying. And just from me being in Canada and doing research and watching the news in the United States and being an American citizen as well, I stay connected to what's going on in the United States. And the way ICE is moving out there, whew, I mean, to some extent, I wish we had some sort of ICE here for what's going on here with immigration as well. We need like ICE, maybe not to certain degrees that goes on in the United States, but we definitely need some ICE here. We need some ICE here. You're saying also from their views, they see Black people as slaves because we're weak to them. I don't know why they would think that about Black Americans. I don't know why they would think Black Americans are weak. Black Americans are nothing weak. There is nothing about a Black American that's weak to me. I have many friends in America, Black friends, and none of them are weak. And just the culture, I always say this, and which is why in Canada, Black Americans are so embraced. It's because they have this vibe, they have this confidence, that jumps off, and it is very endearing to Canadians here. I'm telling you. And it doesn't even matter if you're an athlete or an actor or a singer or any of those things. There is something that you have, and definitely weakness is not it. And that's why I always say that. So whoever is thinking that, you need to stop thinking that. You need to rethink it. And when you go to a country as an immigrant, and I'm just talking about the immigrants now, you have to remember that you are an immigrant, right? You're not a Black American. So when you go into that country, you have to make sure that you are very well educated and versed about the country. And you can't go in with prejudice and bigotry and all of that stuff. You just can't do that. I'll never say you're racist, because we as Black people can't be racist. We can be bigots. We can be prejudiced. And that's what I think a lot of Africans, and if we're going to talk about Somalians, we'll talk about Somalians, tend to have that mindset. And it's wrong. It's very wrong, because now you are faced with being the target of that president, and it will affect your livelihood in that country. So you need to think about that when you're doing these kinds of things. And then also, you need to think about the fact that you may not get support from Black Americans. And one thing I will say about Black Americans is, when it comes to support and unity, they rule. And I see that. And there's a direct difference in the way that Black people in Canada unify, or lack thereof, versus Black Americans. And it is a beautiful thing to see. And if y'all don't get it together there, you cannot expect to get any support from a Black American. You just can't. So you think when they do the birthright citizenship, which is something that they're fighting for there? Yep. Yep. Yes, that is true. You're right. There are a lot of American citizens that are Somalis. Yes, that is true. That is true. That's why you saw only a small portion, right? 0.28% or 0.28%. That is true. I think there are many Somalians left in Somalia. I think so. Oh my gosh. Well, one of the things, Mecca, I was looking to see is how many, because your president is always talking about how they're criminals and all that other stuff, and I wasn't really seeing a lot of research. At least there wasn't any race-based data that was separating to say this exact amount are criminals. So I didn't touch that. But I mean, there's criminals in every race, right? I mean, look at the homegrown terrorism that goes on in the United States. So we can't only just be looking at criminals in the Somali community, because there's a lot going on there. And when you look at who's doing it, it's not Somalis, it's the folks. Well, I don't know about that, Lizaka. I don't know if you can't. The only criminals get deported, because I know some people that are getting deported that are on the list, at least here in Canada, that are getting deported because they came here on temporary visas or work student visas or things like that. So or temporary work permits, and they have to go back. So I don't think it's necessarily only if you're criminals. So yeah, well, that's the thing too, right? Like you're talking about jail time, and that's the thing too. You get in behind the slammer. I don't know who in there is going to be, your friend. I'm just saying in general, just don't do these kinds of things. It's just not. It is not wise. It is not wise in this climate. It's not wise. Exactly. Yeah. But again, the TPA at 705 was, I think it may be different or less or more at this point, but 705 is a number. It's a number. Um yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree with you about the white supremacy rhetoric. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Mhm. Well, and see, Willie, what you're saying is exactly my point, which is that they love to say that they're not black. And that's why when you're saying what a lot of, I think, black Americans and black Canadians will say, which is we're not going to help you because you haven't helped us. I mean, when you think about it, when things are going on with black Americans, are they there to support? Or, I'm just asking, I'm putting it out there. Are they just there to support? I know they're not there to support here in Canada. So, I mean, it's like, okay, well, what did you do for me when we were going through our stuff and continue to go through our stuff, right? So there's that. So you're saying they're seen as black and Muslim. Well, I know the Muslim part, but a lot of them are saying they are not black. They say that they are, I mean, at least in Canada, they say Somali Canadians. So they don't even identify by saying that they're black. They say Somali Canadians. I don't know if they say Somali Americans there, but I know that they keep saying I'm not black. And I just showed you an example of one that's saying that. Let's see here. Yeah, yeah, exactly. No, we're not pushing white supremacy. No, we're not pushing that. That's not what we're doing here. We're talking about a group of people who say they don't identify as black. However, if they're out in the streets, those white supremacists will identify them as black. And that's a fact. They're not going to look at them and say, oh, that's a Somali. No. Thank you, Buckhorse. Thank you. Yep. And I agree with you, JN District. You say you're a Native American, you're not going anywhere, and as you shouldn't have to. You don't have to. Hey, if you're born and bred there and that's your country, yes, yes, I agree. But you can't discount the fact that there are some Somalis that are born in America. There are a lot. And these ones could be some of them. I don't know. All I know is that's just not a smart thing to do at all. Oh boy, oh boy. Oh, is that your city, Kevin Chavez? Which one? Columbus? Is that your city? You said call. Listen, Buckhorse, you're saying the call. They already went there. They went to where they are, and they're like, "We found you. We're outside." So I guess they were saying, "Hey, pull up, come outside." Which again, I'm like, and I'm saying this because I genuinely care. I do. I genuinely care. So this is tough love. Stop the nonsense, right? Like, why are you gonna go look for them? Like, seriously. Have you not seen what's going on? Have you not seen how they're pulling up in neighborhoods and dragging people by their hair? Literally. So why would you go looking for them? Hey, listen, I will say it from the rooftops. Black people built that country, okay? And everybody is benefiting from that. That is not Black American. That is true. B1, I agree. I agree, Lizaka. We should not fear anybody that oppresses us. Absolutely not. They shouldn't. So you think that Canadians admire FBAs because they know we have the intentions to stay there? Stay where? In Canada, or you don't have intentions? Because they really, I find Canadians really do love Americans. They do. Um yeah, I mean, I agree with you again. They obviously don't seem to be concerned. Otherwise, they wouldn't be pulling up and stalking ICE. I'm just saying, listen, don't do it. Canada doesn't have Indigenous Black people. Well, not so much anymore, but we do have some. But back in the day, there were more. But we definitely have a lot of Indigenous people. Just more on the non-melanated side for sure. I agree with that. And yep, you're right. Nova Scotia, yes, there are a lot of Americans that came across and lived in Nova Scotia for real. Nova Scotia, I would say Nova Scotia is one of the provinces in Canada that have vast, rich Black history, and then also the Niagara region as well. And then there's other parts. And I'll be doing a lot of that information. I'll be bringing a lot of that information too. So stay tuned for that. I think I'll maybe do it probably around Black History Month. I'll be doing some stuff so that you guys can learn a bit about the history of Black people in Canada, you know? So I'll definitely be doing that. They want to learn Black Americans history. Yeah, I'm a big believer in anywhere I'm going, I like to learn about the country. And I'm not going to go off of what people say because I made that mistake myself. Like when before I got my citizenship in America, I was in Canada and oh, Canada was the bomb, back in my younger years. We too were sometimes foolish, as it says in the scriptures. But anyway, so before I went across, I was like, oh, I'm going to America. I'm going to the United States. A lot of people were saying, oh, don't go there. And if you go, Black Americans are this and that, everything negative. Okay. And then I went across, and I say this story all the time. I had one experience with a gas station attendant, and I was like, I don't know what people are talking about. But that was a lesson for me. To do my own homework and do my own diligence. But I will say this, even though I heard all those negative things, I did not go across there with an attitude or that I was going to go disrespect, Black Americans. I'm going to your country. So why am I going to go to your country as somebody who is not a citizen at the time? Why am I going to go there and disrespect Black people? I'm not doing that. If anything, I'm going to make sure that I'm respectful, right? So that's why I always say to anybody coming from Africa or other countries, you don't go to that country that you're not from and be disrespectful based on what you hear. Do your homework, do your diligence, or go in with a complete open mind. And I'm not saying go in and not, be practice safety and all those things. I'm just saying have an open mind before you go in there, and sometimes even talking smack before you even get into the country. That's just not wise. It's not sound thinking, right? And that's my whole thing. Just don't do that. Uh Old school LJ23, sorry. Yeah, I agree with you. And Canada needs to do the same. And it's not phobia. It's not what did you call Somali phobia? No, no, no. Where I'm coming from is not phobia. Where I'm coming from is I'm telling my people, if you already have a president that is saying, I want them out of this country, I want them out of this country. And like I said, when Trump opens his mouth, You know that it's red meat that he's just flinging to his base, right? So I'm just saying, you don't go and do these kinds of antagonistic things like pulling up to where ICE is and being outside making racket. That's my whole point. So it's not phobia, at least not from my end. I'm just saying, stop that. Don't do that. That's my whole thing. Um, Yeah, that is true, Malicious 69. There is some influence for sure. They do. There's an influence. And there are some people that will talk like they're American and all that stuff. That is true. But then on the flip side, you can't deny, Malicious, that there aren't some Black Americans that are like changing their names to African names and wearing African clothing, like Dr. Umar Infantunde Johnson, right? There are some that do that too, right? So I'm just saying it swings both ways for sure in that regard. Yeah, that is true, Lizaka. You're right. Exactly, Buckhorse. Right is right, wrong is wrong. And that's all I'm saying. This was wrong. This was wrong. This was not a smart thing to do at all. Yeah, that is true. Flack 592. They do sometimes. You're right. You are right. If the laws change, it does impact everybody. But this also impacts the Somali community, right? That's a no-no. Family, the chat is alive. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and chatting with me about this. This has been great. But yeah, this is my thing. I just want to say again, just based on this is like Somali people, my people from the East, you the East, we the West, stop doing these kinds of things. Don't do this. Don't do this. If you are a citizen of the United States, if you're born in the United States, be quiet. If you are set to be deported, if your TPS has been ended and you're on the deportation list, be quiet. Don't do this kind of thing. Do not feed into this kind of thing. If I were, like I said, if I were you, I would focus on what I can do to either, if you're set to be deported, get yourself set up where, home, or do what you need to do here so that, or sorry, not here in Canada, but here in the United States so that you can stay. Like, stop it. Be productive. This is not productive. Well, so you, oh my gosh. Well, anyway, family, I like I said, I appreciate you hanging out with me. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I know people probably want to go shopping and do all them things and get your hair did and your nails did and get yourself ready for, the holiday if you celebrate it. So I'm going to love you and leave you, but I thank you for spending 37 minutes with me. Appreciate it very much. What I will say again to the Somali community, listen to Auntie M. Do not do that again. Leave ICE alone. Don't don't antagonize ICE. Don't draw ICE into you. Okay? Don't do that. And I just want to remind everybody again to download the African Diaspora News Channel app if you have not done so already. Please, please, please do so. And until next time, I shall see you again. And next time will be tomorrow. Same channel, same time, and an equally as important topic. Until then, please be safe, everyone. I shall see you tomorrow. Bye.